Paying you all the black pen. So recently I was dragged on social media for stating that I prefer supporting the New Zealand All Blacks in rugby, and I gave a historical account of my personal experience and my support for the team. Was dragged, still get dragged today, and it's okay. Gone on to celebrate and congratulate the Springboks. They are currently my second favorite team. I support Rassia Rasmus, Jacques Nienaber, Sia Kolisi, Cheslin Colby, Andre Pollard, Manny Libok, Faf de Klerk, all the players, very, very much. I'm very proud of them, and I'm very proud of the transformation that has happened in South African rugby from 30 years ago, 29 years ago, maybe 95, when Francois Pienaar lifted the Rugby World Cup, handed over by President Nelson Mandela, with the late Steve Tshwete at the back, who was the Minister of Sports. The EFF went and congratulated the Springboks. And then later on, they went and they had a change of heart. And Julius Malema's gone on to explain that he had a dip in political consciousness. And he is still calling for, as Mbuyiseni Ndlozi has done before, because he also didn't celebrate the Springboks in 2019 when they won the World Cup, lifted by Sia Kolisi as well at the time. Julius Malema has said we need to be vigilant. The Springbok emblem needs to be changed. The colors of the green and gold need to be changed. The name, the Springboks, need to be changed. And I think they also added the stem, which is the Afrikaans part of the national anthem of South Africa, that needs to be removed. And they basically saying as the EFF that the symbol of the Springboks, the colors and everything, they are a representation of apartheid South Africa and they must be dismantled. And many people have tagged me on Julius's videos and they've asked for my opinions. Yesterday, I responded to a tweet by senior advocate Utali Mpofu, who was saying we need to have a rational discussion or debate around this. And when I went live on TikTok last night, someone also asked in the comments my thoughts and my views, and I shared them and I'm sharing them now. I do not agree with the EFF stance at all, Julius Malema's stance at all, with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi's stance at all. As much as I might prefer the New Zealand All Blacks for my own personal reasons, I still am a huge supporter of the Springboks. I myself grew up wanting to don the green and gold and play for the Springboks and represent my country. The Springbok as a symbol, the animal, a Springbok, it's one of our national animals. It's a beautiful animal, and if ever South Africans wanted to change from a Springbok to a lion, to a rhino, to a giraffe, to a zebra, to an elephant, to a buffalo, we can decide as a collective, and it must make sense. It mustn't be politically motivated, because I'd like to think the animal, the Springbok, when you see it hopping around, doesn't get you angry at apartheid South Africa. That's quite silly for me. I do not agree that the Springbok symbol is similar to a swastika from Nazi Germany. I disagree with that very much. It is very different from the old apartheid or the old South African flag. That can be argued, that maybe that is a symbol of apartheid and because it represented a country that was divided, not the sports team. There is a history, and I need to give a shout out to Dan Corder, one of my favorite TikTokers currently, who does these amazing think pieces and information pieces on politics, current affairs in this country. He's got a great video on the history of South African rugby and the racism. Something that I've raised many times. There is still racism in South African rugby, and it is a work in progress. We can see it today. Sia Kolisi, Oxenche, Trevor Nyagane, Bongi Mbonambi, Jaden Hendrickse, Grant Williams, Manny Libok, Damian Willemse, Cheslin Colby, Kurtley Arendse, I don't know who I'm missing from this squad, Magazole, PMP, Lucanio we can keep going, and there's so much more talent in the country today. So there's been a lot of work. Even at school level, there's been a lot of work. The transformation agenda is ongoing, and shout out to Rassia Rasmus for understanding how important this has been. We've come a long way since 94, since 95, and we're still going even further today in the transformation and the diversity. And it's not being done just with quotas, which was done before. It is being done in real time with the schools embracing diversity. I currently live in Johannesburg, and if you look at the diversity of the top schools here, Kes in Houghton, JP Boys, if you look at even Afrikaans schools like Hoërskool Monument, if you look at Hoërskool Noordheuwel, if you look at Hoërskool Garsfontein, so many colored and black players there doing really, really well. So the work is being done. Maybe not Enough is being done at development at grassroots level. And that's where we unfortunately need to blame our sports ministry, and that's where we need to blame our government run by the ANC. So if Julius Malema and the EFF want to focus their energy elsewhere, it must be how can we ensure that people like Magazole Mapimpi, Lukanyo where they come from, their homes and their schools, the township schools, the rural village schools are getting rugby fields. They're getting decent infrastructure, they're getting scrum machines, and we are allowing them to be seen. We're creating tournaments. I need to give a shout out to Senior Advocate Dalimpofu, who actually sponsors a rugby tournament in the Eastern Cape where he comes from. That is pretty dope. Siakolis himself has also got his own rugby tournament, and that's pretty dope. We need more of those type of initiatives. But the symbol, I'd like to think almost all South Africans are fine with, number one. The colors, the green and gold. The green represents the green of our land. Yes, many people say we need the land back and we need to speak about how we need to redistribute and share this land. But green represents land. Some of our political parties have the colors green. When you see the color green, you don't think, oh, apartheid. Gold. Gold is one of the commodities that has built our economy. Green and gold represent South Africa. If the EFF wants to change, of course, like I said with the animals, they can say, can we maybe use black and white to represent the black and white diversity of this country? Do we want to use yellow? Why would we want to use yellow? Maybe for the sun. Do we want to use red, the colors of the EFF? Why must we use the colors of the EFF? What has the EFF done to further the rugby agenda in South Africa? But currently, people have no issues with the green and gold. We saw the new Springbok jersey, which was, hey, I don't know what color that was, the FNB and the checkers colors. And many South Africans were like, we want the green and gold back. And it was brought back. People love the green and gold. It is a winning name. It is a winning color. Sorry, it's winning colors. The name, the Springboker or the Springboks, again, I do not think it ignites racial, whatever the case may be. It's a name. You can maybe decide you want to name them Amapogo, which is what we have. Amadota, which has been one of the names suggested for you, Bafana. Stop calling them boys. Call them Amadota so that they are men. Do you want to give them that? Nothing stops you. You look at the infiltration of Igwicho squad, which has added this Gwicho singing culture within rugby circles, which is beautiful. Something that's celebrated largely in the Eastern Cape amongst the Xhosa people. Igwicho is being included and no one is saying, oh, this is wrong. Rugby is white and Afrikaans. Stay out. This Gwicho must... No one. We're enjoying it. You see Siakolis singing with the boys, with Obongi Mbonambi, before they get on the field. That is how you transform things that you want to transform. It's beautiful. Siakolis speaks Xhosa in some of his interviews. We've got people like Motsidisi Mohono, who is an analyst, who is not a commentator, but an analyst. We had Kaunda Ntunja, Makaya Jack. We've had these people, Xhosa commentary. There is transformation. It's happening and it's beautiful. It's something really, really special. I think the EFF just used this opportunity for cheap, very cheap politicking. And if the Springboks had not won, if they were not a winning team, they wouldn't bother. You've got a black captain. You've got a black almost vice captain in Bongi Mbonambi. You've got amazing diversity in the team, not just at the Springbok level, but at all the unions. Why are you so angry, bro? And if you're going to speak about symbols of apartheid, why not dismantle the union buildings? Why not refuse to go into parliamentary buildings? Because they were also... Those benches is where the apartheid government used to sit. Why is it convenient for you to pick and choose? And why not take all this energy and emotion and go invest it in our football structures that desperately need it? With the corruption of ISAFA. Go complain about ISAFA. And as Julius Malema be like, we demand that SAFA, we demand that the PSL transform like rugby. We want to see the beauty of the diversity. We want to bring the FIFA Football World Cup home. We want to celebrate our boys and we will invest. And not only that, because the EFF claims to be non-racial, we encourage Rassie Erasmus. We encourage the leaders of the South African Rugby Union. We encourage Francois Pienaar and Varsity Cup and the success of even varsity football. We encourage them to sit around the table and say, guys, please help us build structures like Craven Week under 13, Gran Homo under 16, Craven Week under 18, SA schools. Please help us introduce football as a winning sport in the top rugby schools. Let the top rugby schools have rugby as well. Grey College in Bloem, Grey PE in Gqeberha, Glenwood in Durban, Pietermaritzburg College in PMB. I've already mentioned Kez and JP Boys, Schools like Paul Ruiz, schools like Paul Boys, Paul Gymnasium, schools like Bishops, Wynberg Boys, the Selborne colleges, the Queens, the Dale, and all the other top rugby schools in the country, including, like I've said, mentioned some of the Afrikaans ones, Afis. I spoke about Monument, etc., etc. There are so many amazing rugby schools in the country. Incentivize them from a government space to be like, please invest in football, just as Francois Pienaar and Varsity Sports have done with football at varsity level, so that we can have Bafana Bafana, or we want to call them Amadota, our national soccer team Amadota. We want them to actually encapsulate the beauty of this country, and we want them to win, and we want the beauty of the diversity. Something similar that we have. You look at Siya Kolisi and the Springboks now. We had Neil Tovey, Clive Barker, and the Bafana Bafana of back then, or Helman Mkhalele, or Philmon Masinga, or Sean Bartlett, or Mark Fish, or Eric Tinkler, or Andre Arense. Winning team that won EFF, Tour France. We were going to France, just like we won in France now. We were going to France back then. Oh, Benny McCarthy, Benny's in the 18 area with our TKZ. We love winning as a nation. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of the few places where we win. You look at the Proteas now. You look at what our hockey teams, the indoor hockey and the field hockey, men and women, what they're doing out there. It is sensational. But now cheap politicking is now wanting to ride that and be negative. When I spoke about the reason why I'm supporting the All Blacks, it was just to highlight my love and passion for rugby. And it was to give my view so that people don't out there one day be like, but why are you supporting the All Blacks when you're a Springbok fans? Like, no, dog. I actually prefer the All Blacks. And because they were meeting in the final, I didn't want people to be confused about where I stand. I wanted the All Blacks to win, but similarly, I wanted the Springboks as my second favorite team to win as well. But to get bashed and trolled, you're not patriotic, move to New Zealand, that's lame. That's so lame. But this, what Julius Malema and the EFF are doing, is lame, especially if they want to get into government. If you want more black players, if you want more black development, invest your money and your energy and your efforts there. But don't destroy a winning team that is doing so well and where the transformation is doing so great. South African Rugby has managed to bring in more black and colored players while maintaining a high standard of winning. That's different now from our government. Our government has become transformed, but it has destroyed the nation. Eskom, Transnet, the SAPC. And now the EFF looks like they're like, put us in government, we want to destroy more. We want to have a South African team that is, a rugby team that is just black. We don't care if they get whipped. We don't care if they lose games. Who the hell cares? Transformation by all means, regardless. And that's lame. And I don't support that. So I just wanted to share my views on that. I'm looking forward to some of your thoughts on Julius Malema and the EFF and their views on the Springboks. I'm really proud of the Springboks. My favorite Springbok, by the way, is Peter Steph Tutoy, followed by Cheslin Colby. Amazing, amazing people. Andre Pollard is definitely up there as one of my favorite Boks. Lucanio Arm is definitely up there as one of my favorite Boks. We're so proud of the boys. We're so proud of what the boys have achieved. We're so proud of the examples that they are for us. Very, very big family men, very respectful. They avoid politics and they protect themselves. Tobani Bobo is one of the guys who taught me, protect the boys. This is one team and they're showing us what South Africa could be. When I think of the Springboks, I think of Gift of the Givers and the beauty and the world-class way in which Gift of the Givers runs themselves as a non-profit organization, which is non-racial, which is diverse, which is all about service. We have so many other beautiful aspects of South Africa that we need to cherish, which show the potential of what South Africa could be if we remove corrupt, incompetent people, and if we remove people who are actually big on being divisive and not building us together as a nation. Pen you all the black pen. Cheers.